Shared with you a couple of weeks ago a quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "I don't like that man. I must get to know him better." Hi, I'm Ron Price. Do you ever wonder why it is that you find some people are easier to get along with than others? Why some people, when you see them, you just want to go the other way? Well, there's lots of different reasons. One of the main ones, I think, is that we know we have flaws and faults and shortcomings that we don't like about ourselves. And when we see those in somebody else, we instantly don't like them, subconsciously, maybe even consciously. So I want to share with you a tip today that I picked up somewhere along life's journey. I don't know where I got it, but it's called the List of 10. And as the story goes, it's an insurance agent who was retiring after a 50-year career, a career in which nobody could ever remember him getting crosswise upset with anyone. Coworkers, boss, direct reports, customers, clients. Nobody could ever remember this guy getting upset with anyone for 50 years. Well, a career like that, we got to celebrate. So they throw a party. And at the party, one of the younger insurance agents came up to him and said, "What's your secret? How did you do that? How did you spend 50 years never getting upset with anyone?" And he said, "Well, I decided early on in my career that I was going to be dealing with imperfect people, just like me, people who had flaws and faults and shortcomings that weren't going to change. That's just a part of who they were. And I could decide to get upset about it, or I could decide to overlook it." And he said, "I made a list in my mind of everyone's top 10 faults, everyone I worked with, my family members, people I dealt with on a regular basis. I made a mental list of their top 10 faults. And then whenever they did one of those, when they exhibited one of those faults, I just reminded myself, hey, got to take the bad with the good. I can't expect perfection. I'm going to overlook this." And the young agent said, "Oh, I like that." He said, "Hey, how about if just for fun, I real quick write down what I think the boss's top 10 faults are, compare them with your list, and we'll see how close we get." And the man kind of chuckled and said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I never really wrote them down. But every time he did something that bothered me, I always said, boy, lucky for him, that's one of the 10. Not a great story. It's not true, probably, but it's a great lesson. Everyone you deal with is doing life, and sometimes better than others. And Charles Dickens said it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. He was spot on. That's true for every one of us at all points. Right now, some parts of your life are probably going really well. You wouldn't change a thing. Some parts of your life could probably stand some improvement. Again, welcome to the human race. Welcome to life as we know it. But again, what would it be like if you made a list of everybody's top 10 faults? Although I was sharing that with somebody and said, "Ron, why don't you make a list of their top 10 strengths and focus on that?" Well, I like that too. But just when you're working with people, when you're living with people, when you're interacting with people, why not make it your point that you're going to get along better with them? You're not going to do things that'll upset them, and you're not going to get upset when they do things that maybe you find distasteful or unpleasant, what have you. So please remember good old Abe. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. And make a list, whichever you prefer, of everybody's top 10 faults so that you just realize, hey, I don't have to get upset about that. Or their top strengths, so you're looking for the positive. Now, by the way, when you make the list of the faults, some items should never be on that list. You know, she doesn't come to work drunk. I think she's down to 3 or 4 times a month now. Lucky for her, that's one of the 10. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Stop it. Or, you know, he's not embezzling nearly as much money as he used to embezzle. Lucky for him. Will you please? I'm talking those little idiosyncrasies that we all have. Do they talk too much or talk too little? Do they talk too loud or talk too quiet? Do they pick their nose? Well, that's a different category. but you know what I'm saying. All of us have quirks and special parts of who we are. Some we're proud of, some not so much, but we're all human. We're all what the late Jack Fowler called FHBs, fallible human beings. Huh? Guilty as charged. So make it your point today and every day to go out of your way to have that list of 10 or look for the good, however you want to call it. But make sure you're doing your part to get along with coworkers, family members, associates. I know you'll be glad you did. See you next time.